back to our class. In the last class, we have seen about software, some fundamentals of software. We have seen some definitions, software, engineering, project, and management. Then we have discussed about my world without software is nothing. Okay? Then we have seen what software consists of. It's just not a program, but along with program, there are certain contents. Okay, so I say there are some instructions. Then, apart from instructions, we have data structures, and then we have documentation. Okay? This is what we have seen. Apart from that, we have also seen that around 50 years back, nobody would have thought that software industry will become or will be one of the largest industry, creating maximum revenue, giving maximum or most of the jobs will be in the IT industry. So this we have seen yesterday, along with some features, some attributes of a good software, some quality attributes that a software should have. Okay. This is what we have covered yesterday. Now let's go ahead. So now what we're going to discuss is some features of software. So earlier what we have seen is essential attributes or qualities that we expect the software product should have. Now there are some features, its characteristics that make it different from other things human beings build. So software is not the only thing that humans build, or as a software engineer we are going to build a software. Apart from that, in computer engineering there are multiple things. Okay, so hardware is also built, software is also built. So basically we are going to see a difference in hardware and in software. Okay, two things basically. However, we are saying that in a broad category that how software is different from other entities or other products that humans build. Okay. So in that, so first is it's a logical system. So that's why we said software. If one say that you show me a software as a product, I won't be able to show. Okay. So if you remember earlier, software used to come in a CD. Okay. So if the software is there, everything will be CD. So there are hundreds of CDs are there. I cannot differentiate the CDs as such. Okay. But CDs contains some kind of a software. Okay. So it's a logical system. I cannot show you physically that this is what software is until unless you execute it, you run it, you start it on a hardware or on a PC. So I cannot see that. So it's a logical system. Okay. So first in this case, what we say is software is developed or engineered. It's not manufactured. Okay. So it's a difference that we say hardware can be or hardware is manufactured. So there is a manufacturing process for a hardware. However, software will be engineered. We'll see that how it is different in that case. Okay. So obviously we'll have some kind of a similarities also, like both hardware as well as software, both will be designed. Both will require some kind of a requirement analysis. Both will require some kind of a design. And then hardware, once the design is ready, we will manufacture it. In both cases, in software as well as hardware, we require some kind of a quality attributes. We want this product should be of good quality or high quality. That's what we require from this. However, there will be some properties in the hardware that we cannot see. Like say, if hardware during the manufacturing process, if there are some kind of errors are introduced, we are not able to or will not be able to remove those errors. Because once they're in the hardware has to be thrown in that case. You cannot make modifications in the hardware. Obviously, you can add some other chip, you can do certain things. However, once the hardware is there, like say once I build a keyboard, and if there is some problem in the manufacturing process, like if when I press G, it is giving me H. That's the manufacturing fault. Somewhere in the design, somewhere in the manufacturing, those wires or those connections might have got cross connected. So in that case, I cannot change those things. I just have to throw that product. However, in case of software, I can correct those things. Once the software is ready, what I can do is I'll test it, and even after delivering it, even if it once goes to the customer, if there are some problems, I can solve those problems. I can make those changes. Okay? And obviously, we say this can be done easily too. So these corrections are easier to do. We are not going to throw away the product as such. We are not going to throw the software. The user will report you that, boss, this is the problem, I am getting this kind of a error. So again, you can work on that error, solve the error, do some kind of programming for that, execute it, test it, give back to the customer. So that changes can be performed even after the software is ready, its product is ready as such. So obviously both this engineering as well as manufacturing is depend on people and how these people apply their work and how it is accomplished, and at the end what we get is a product. But remember that software will be developed or engineered, and what we have is software can be changed even after the product is ready. Second thing, software doesn't wear out, but it deteriorates. So what it means, now this diagram that you see here, the based on the diagram we can just explain it, that software is going to deteriorate, it's not going to wear out. So if you see there is an idealized curve here, okay, so the failure rate initially may be higher because when you start building the product, the software, you're getting the requirements and you're not able to execute, execution is failing, there are a lot of errors that may be coming up. That may happen in the initial phases. Okay. However, once the software is ready, let's say we start see this steady state. So once it is ready, the failure rate is very low and it keeps on functioning. Now this is the idealized curve. Now why we say it's deteriorating? It deteriorates because of changes. Okay. If one just uses the software as it is built, like we are saying, once the failure rate is there, product is ready, whatever initial functionalities initially you have developed, like say calculator is there, you develop the calculator and give it. Now the customer is not asking for any kind of changes. If there are no changes, my software is going to function continuously smoothly over a period of a time, long period of a time it will keep on functioning. There is no change if you are doing. However, as time changes, as technology changes, customer will ask for some kind of a changes. Now because of that, what happens is this change will suddenly cause some kind of a failure. You see, in the lifetime of software, suddenly a customer asks for some kind of a change. Now this is a maintenance phase. Software is delivered to the customer. Now customer is asking, boss, I need some kind of a change here. Our technology has changed, our platform has changed, some hardware has changed, some communication mechanism has changed, some security feature needs to be changed. So in that case, he is asking for a change. Now that change will suddenly cause a failure. Okay. You see, increased failure rate due to side effects. It may be on both ends. A software developer might not have taken care of some kind of exceptions. Some exception handling might not have been done, which the customer will report after some time. Once he is using, he may enter certain things because of which he will see that there is some error. The program is not functioning. It has failed. Now he will report to the development team. Once it is reported to development team sees that it's a failure. Now they need to change. Now suddenly there is a spike. So this is a spike because of change. Now they will correct this error. Again, they will bring back it to the working state. Now this is actual curve of a software. Now you see this will keep on happening as changes come. There will be spike in the failure, and again the software team will remove the errors and then give it back to the customer. Customer start using it. Again there may be some kind of a change. So because of these changes, software will deteriorate. Changes may be because of management. Changes may be because of technological changes. Changes may be there because of some other things like the user requirements have changed. So in that case, we'll see that software is deteriorating, but still software is usable. With these changes also, software remains usable. now say the hardware. What happens in the hardware in the initial design phases, we can say, when it's being requirement analysis is being performed and design is being performed, that time I may see a heavy, say, failure, a high rate of failure initially. Then it stabilizes, obviously to a very low levels, that it stabilizes for a long period of time. However, after some time, what happens with the hardware is, we know, because of dust, because of vibrations, because of physical handling, because of physical mishandling, we'll say, or abuse, the hardware will start failing. We know that whenever when we are carrying laptop or some machine, we make it sure that it doesn't have vibrations, because vibrations will cause a physical damage, and that physical damage will cause a hardware failure. So to avoid that, we make it sure that there are no vibrations. We make it sure that the hardware is not now is not getting dusted. Right? We will not get full of dust. So we now make it sure that we are cleaning the hardware. We blow the we use blower sometimes to remove this dust and other things. So these these external factors are going to affect my hardware. Okay? So that's what happens in case of hardware. So we have bathtub curve in case of hardware failures. So initially there is a heavy failure, and after some time, because of these parameters we have mentioned, the physical abuse or dusting, or maybe the change in the voltages, the current changes suddenly, sudden shutdown of machine because of the power loss, there are hardware failures which will occur. It also occurs because of the changes in the voltage. Suddenly the voltage is increasing. Maybe because of heavy temperatures, some of the hardwares will not be functioning. So in that case, my hardware will fail. So it has a bathtub curve. So for some amount of time, it will show you that uh, it has a steady state or say functioning, and then it will fail. Okay. Okay. So next thing is, software failure is because of errors and not because of deterioration that we have seen. Software will have some kind of errors. That's, we can say, one of the again difference. If hardware fails, that hardware part has to be replaced. However, if software fails, there are some errors which we're going to remove the errors. Okay? We remove the errors and we make sure that software is again functioning. Now next is, software is intangible. There are no physical properties. I cannot say software weighs 1 kg. However, hardware always have some kind of a weight, some kind of a length, some kind of a breadth. Like we say, you purchase software, hardware. So when you purchase a say laptop, they tell you that this laptop is having 15.6 inches of screen. This laptop has 1.9 kg of weight. Okay? It has the breadth. It has some kind of a height. So hardware always comes with some kind of physical properties. However, software has no physical properties. It's intangible. That's what I'm saying. It's a logical system. It's intangible. We cannot say that software has some kind of a length, some kind of a width. There may be some quality attributes like performance attributes, but performance attributes are not physical properties. They are again they are logical properties as such. Okay? And then lastly, although the industry is moving towards component-based construction, most software continues to be custom built. What we are trying to say is, we are having some kind of off-the-shelf components available. We take off-the-shelf components, we integrate them together, and we create a new system or a new software. However, when we are saying that we are creating new software based on these components, we are saying we are trying to have reusable components. So these reusable components will be developed, and there will be hundreds and thousands of components available. You choose which one fits to us, fits to you, and then club them together and you form a software. So this is integration. Okay? Integration of various components done together. Once the integration is done, we test the interfaces, we test the entire functioning of the software, and the software is ready. That's component based construction. However, still we are trying to build softwares which are custom built. As and when the customer comes, he says, I require this kind of a software. So for that customer, we are building a custom built product. So you may be using some kind of a reusable components. However, what we're trying to say is, this software will be custom built. It continues to be custom built. Even though the industry is trying to get off the shelf components, take this thing, take this patch, use it here, and then you have the entire software product ready. Still, we want to build a customer would always like to have whatever he requires, not all the functionalities of your software which is going to slow down his system. No, he wants a system which is having some kind of a quality, some performance metric, some performance say level which has to be there. So optimal level of performance he would like to have. So he will give you some characteristics, he will give you some different requirements, and for that those requirements he would like to have his own software.